There it is, that sweet, sweet sound. The sound of maple syrup. The sound of, well, the, the it's the sound of me, because I'm Canadian. Alright, I've tried to kind of keep my composure, and I've blown off the handle off a few times. I'm trying to record this perfectly. And I'm sweating like a bugger because it's just something's bothering me. Something's bothering me. I've been bored. It's crazy. Been bored. I was playing World of Warcraft all night last night. Woke up this afternoon. I'm flipping through my phone because we don't got cable because I pay for Netflix and we have Amazon Prime and. Yeah, we don't pay for cable. But here I am this afternoon, scrolling through my phone, in bed with that phone like in your face and you're barely awake trying to see through it. Something caught my eye. Something hurt me. Something hurt deep down and I didn't like it. Bothered the shit out of me. And I thought that I would make a video about what it was about. And this video is kind of about what it means to me, to Simon, to the guy sitting in the chair with the messy hair and the beard and the Star Wars stuff and the Funko Pops and the piano. Yeah, to this guy. And what it means to be a Canadian in my eyes. And, and what I view as, the right way to be a Canadian. Story about me. I was born in Ontario, in the busiest part of Ontario, the busiest part of Canada. I was born up north here. Just about 4 hours away from Niagara Falls up north in a town called Orillia. I was born there. The town of Gordon Lightfoot, the Edmund Fitzgerald, that town. And I had a great childhood. We were up there. The population of the town, when I was born there, I wasn't living there. I was just born there. But I lived in a small town a little ways away from there with a population of like 700, 800 people in it. And everybody knew your business and everybody knew who you were. And it was a quiet community up there. And then we moved down to southern Ontario with my dad and my mom and my brother and our dog and other people. But we moved down here to southern Ontario for my dad's work, and what a shock and what a change it was for me, because I moved down here when I was about 7 or 8. Maybe, I was about 8 years old, I think, when we moved down here. And it was just it was a shock. It was crazy. I was seeing things that I've never really seen. I've been to Toronto a few times with my parents, but like I was used to small community. You see, small gatherings of people, but I saw some things that that opened my eyes, created new horizons for me, and that's how I kind of just turned a 360 around about how I thought and how I acted and how I am as a person. This type of, the way what I'm getting at here is, the way that my parents brought me up and the way that my dad was really into, teaching us right from wrong. So was my mom. My mom was with me my whole life, where my dad was on the road a good portion of the time. And, but my dad showed me the different cultures, showed me different ways around. And when I worked with my dad always showed me, different parts of Toronto and southern Ontario. And eventually I followed him in the line of work that we did, which dealt with different people, which dealt with different cultures, which dealt with people from all over the world. And it opened my heart. Like, I loved it. I could not have asked for a better experience with the job. Not the people who ran the place, the people who ran the job, whatever. But for the job itself, being a tour guide in Niagara Falls, you see people from all over the world. I met people people who were in the building when 9/11 happened. Like, that's something unbelievable. I've met people from New Zealand, Sweden, Switzerland, Zimbabwe. Like, I've met people from all corners of the earth. And it really opened up my eyes. I did research the night before if I knew where they were from, how to be polite to them, because that's what was important to me, is to be polite with people. But it opened up my heart. Now, what I saw in this video, or in this post that I saw, and I'm not going to show it because it won't be allowed on YouTube, is people were hating people from Toronto. People in Toronto were hating on a person because they appeared to be from China. That is racism. Not allowed here. Not allowed in my world. Not allowed in I ever see that. Go, boy, you catch you on the flip side, buddy. It's just not welcomed here. I don't like racism. I know that our government has done some bad things to a lot of people who were first from this country, from the native lands of Canada, and I have a lot of native friends who, have told me about what our government has done, and it's awful. It's horrible. I don't agree with it. But I think that everybody as a whole should live together and not be so racist. It's awful. Or even racist, let alone it's just plain right mean. And I'm not a mean person. I don't have a mean bone in my body. Anyway, this poor girl in Toronto, she was being yelled at because she's apparently Asian. Now, in my opinion, you can't tell where somebody's from just by the way that they look. You can't look at a girl or a person or a guy who appears to be Asian, let alone they might be from the Philippines, they might be from Vietnam, they might be from Korea, they might be from China. They might be from somewhere over there. Mongolia, Korea. I think I said Korea. They might be from Cambodia. I have friends from Cambodia. I have friends from Vietnam, from China, from the Philippines. I know some people from there. And you can't really just look at them and go, you're from China. Screw you. You brought this virus over here. That was the main cause for it, was people were saying, hey, screw you, screw your kind, you brought the virus over here. That's not even true. It could have been from somebody who, like me, worked in China, went over there, brought it back here because we're stupid and don't close our and don't self-isolate, and we all go out in public. All that, it all narrows down to, it's not just the Chinese people's fault. It's not just the Korean people's fault. It's not any person's fault for this. It's a government issue. It's an issue with all our nations. It's not me to use problem. It's now government problems. And we're not the ones to make that decision. Our government leaders will make that decision. And if we don't like what they have to say, we live in a democratic society. We can voice our opinion to the government, not to the people who are innocent for what they haven't even done anything. They're innocent people. And to the guy who made that, that yelling at that poor girl just because she wasn't even from China. I think she was from the Philippines or Cambodia or something. And you dickheads made her feel unwelcomed in Canada. We have the largest Chinatown, one of the largest Chinatowns in North America. I think we're the second biggest. I think Manhattan has the largest Chinatown. Toronto has a huge Chinatown population. I don't think you're going to be very welcome going down to Spadina and I think it's in Spadina and Bloor Street down there. You're not going to be very welcome going down there saying what you said, because you get your ass whooped, buddy. And I wouldn't blame them for whooping your ass, to be honest with you. Now, going on what it means to be Canadian, we accept people for who they are. We don't just look at people and go, you can't come here. We don't like the way you look. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to us. It's not supposed to matter to us. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Korean, gay, Chinese. We have the Gay Pride Parade that rolls through Toronto every year. Looks like a great time. Wish I could go to it. Well, I don't really think we're going to be going this year because of the virus. I think it might have already passed. I don't remember. I shouldn't even commented on when the date was, but it looks like a wonderful time to go. Our prime minister shows up, the mayor shows up and has a ball when he goes to it. I think the premier shows up. Our last premier was gay or lesbian, and she was there. She partied the hell out of it. I digress. I'm getting off topic here. But what it means to be truly Canadian is accepting people for who they are, and we're built on diversity, my friends. It doesn't matter where you're from. You're always welcomed in our country if you are, not a criminal, not done anything wrong in your, even if you have done something wrong, we generally forgive those people. Like, if it's petty stuff, don't go killing people and come here. I mean, that's kind of frowned upon. But in this nation here, we are an open book. I like all kinds of people. I like seeing everybody happy and having a good time, no matter where you're from. I don't mind walking up to a store and, asking for help if the person's from wherever they are. If I can't understand them, I'll sit there for a second and be like, can you just repeat that for me for a second again? Or speak clearly, or look at them when you're talking to them to make sure that you can understand. Because you can generally understand somebody when you're looking them in the eyes and you can just, kind of get the gist of what they're saying. If I have papers that say that I have a learning disability and I can figure this shit out, you guys can too. I mean, for the people who are watching this who are Canadian, figure it out and just don't be so negative in our country. The whole world's in the same pot right now, man. We are all hurting. We're all bored. We all have haircuts that suck right now, and we can't go to the bars and we can't go to the clubs. But sit tight. It's gonna blow over as soon as something happens. The only thing that needs to happen is we need to stay indoors. Stay indoors. Try to get away from people, man. That's how it's spreading. And so you don't have to go downtown Toronto screaming at people because of their different race, blaming them for the coronavirus. That's pretty stupid. That's like going to a German person and blaming them for the Holocaust. You can't do that unless you're a Nazi. And I don't think there's very many of them alive anymore. You can't just do that. It's not right. It's not Canadian. Most of all, it's not Canadian, but most of all, it's just not right. And I'm not from the south of the United States where racism was openly welcome. I really hope that they change their ways, and around the world, it doesn't matter where you're from Yugoslavia, from Russia, to all the way to Zimbabwe, to Africa, to wherever, man. Just remember, in my books, you're always welcome here in the country, because I think this is a place for everybody. We have 37.5 million people that live inside this country. It could fit in California. I mean, you can't live in half the land because it's desolate wasteland up north. It's really, really cold and permafrost and nothing grows. But, it's still, we have lots of room for people, and we need to understand that this isn't just a country for white people or for people from wherever. It's not just a country for that. This is a country for everybody, where everybody's free and everybody is able to practice their own religions, as long as it goes against, not killing people and stuff like that. But for the most part, if you're Hebrew, if you're Islamic, if you're whatever, you're welcomed here always. We have a huge Islam community here in Toronto. We have a huge Islam community out in Calgary. I know that for a fact because when I stayed with my buddies out there, he lived right behind a mosque. We were right there. Huge Indian population. It doesn't matter, again, where you're from. What it means to be Canadian is to accept people for who they are and be helpful. That's all it means. And, if you don't like this video, in my eyes, buddy, if you don't like, helping people or making people feel good about themselves or welcoming people to the country who aren't generally from here, I mean, dislike the video, do whatever you want. But in my opinion, it's just the way I feel, and what I saw this afternoon, after World of Warcraft. I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. I really want you guys to just stay safe. Stay inside. Play your Nintendo Switch. Hand sanitize every time you go. Don't scream at Chinese people or what you think is a Chinese person just because you're upset because you can't go to the barber, you can't go to the wherever. It's not their fault. Anybody's fault except it's a government issue. It's not our issue. We play our part by staying inside and still being helpful to those who need our help. I've flown off the handle a bunch of times with this video, just by what I've been saying, and it kind of like I kept going, and I felt awful after. But if you like the video, give it a like. If you don't, dislike it. I don't care. But what it means to be Canadian is be nice, always be accepting. And no, we don't live in igloos. And no, it's not always cold here. It's hot as hell out today. It's like 30 degrees. Got the AC blasting. You can hear it through the mic. And no, we don't all play hockey. Some of us can't skate. I can, but some other people can't. But anyways, you guys stay safe. And I don't know. Maybe I'll do this more often if this gets a decent amount of people's attention. I had to voice my opinion on this because I don't want anybody thinking that Canada's not a good place to come, because I think it's the best country in the world. And if you've watched and sat through all 15 minutes of this rant, thank you for listening. And I'll see you guys after I make another video. Bye.